How's it, guys?
Welcome back. Welcome back to the R&R.
R&R podcast.
Roots and resilience.
Resilience.
So today what we want to kind of just focus what we're going to chat about. But obviously we'll, as the topic goes, we'll also maybe jump off because that's just how we feel, at that time. But we want to concentrate a little bit about mindset because that's something we have control of.
Absolutely.
And that's something that can make us unhappy or happy, something that can move us forward in life or take us back.
Absolutely. Your mindset is a make and break thing, meaning that it can either make your decision powerful or it can break it down. You know what I'm saying? So mindset is a big thing. And I think that's what we want to talk about today. Yeah.
Lekker. And please, it's not our goal to bore you. If we are, maybe just skim through it, kind of listen to it. But I promise you, there might be something that might grip you on what we'll say. We'll be, going through quite a bit on how we feel. But just listen and if you can afterwards, maybe just interact with a comment or something. But we're not trying to judge anybody. Please, that's not our focus on this platform. We're only here to inspire. We're here to give hope, to motivate, just to give our story on our experiences. So that's our main focus, guys. So
definitely, And I think a good place to start is mindset. Let's get into it.
Cool. Basically, our journey, if you look at where we've come from, where we started, to basically to where we are now, you needed to have resilience to take on all those obstacles that comes your way. Because remember, growing up where we grew up, we were underprivileged. We never had the opportunities that a lot of other kids that living in other areas had. So we had to fight twice as hard. So we just want to let the youngsters know that it might seem hard now, but coming through what you're going through at this point in time, when you get through that, you are as strong as a rock. You're resilient. So anything can come your way and you can take on a problem. You understand? So Graham, if I were to ask you, like I said, we come from underprivileged backgrounds.
Yeah.
To you, what does underprivileged mean?
Yeah, so I was actually listening to the underprivileged part because today I was listening to something where I would say a counterpart, because like say we colored people, I mean in the Cape Town context, that's what we sort of described as, we colored people. We both come from Mitchell's Plain. But in the context of like colored society, if you want to call it that, there's different variations of colored people. And I don't think a lot of people would necessarily think about it in that way. So this guy that I was listening to, he was saying, so he's from what I think we would describe as a colored person that has a little bit more privilege, right? So let's say they from the south, somewhere in the south, like Plumstead or Eastfield or the
Rondebosch.
The Rondebosch, like Rondebosch East. That's most where the colors are. So
We're almost there.
So those are like what we would describe as people of color that has a little bit more privilege than say someone that comes from a Mitchell's Plain or Hanover Park or Manenberg or Pontyville, Delft, that type of thing. So there's obvious differences. But this person was like reflecting and saying, you know what, actually we all colored and we all are the same, and and he often gets irritated by people that say that that they keep them a certain way or they act, but the reality is that there is a big difference, and we can't just deny that just because we don't want to be the ones that seem like we are more privileged or better than, or whatever the case may be. So that got me a little bit, because he's not talking from a perspective of someone that had a lack in his life. Not really. They had certain fortunes, certain privilege that people in other circumstances didn't have. So that got me a little bit, because it had me thinking about what does it actually mean to be underprivileged. And underprivileged to me, like answering your question, is when, there are certain privileges that other people have that you don't have access to. So if I want to think of an example, like schooling. So we didn't have much option of where we went to school. For us, it was, we're from Mitchells Plain, so we're going to go to school in Mitchells Plain. And granted, there are people in Mitchells Plain that did have opportunities to go out of Mitchells Plain to school. But for the majority of people in the community, that was their only option. There wasn't, they didn't have the luxury of saying that I want to go to sex or to, whatever other better school outside of our community was. So that was our only choice. And I think underprivilege is about not having much options, not having choice, but you have to make the most of what you had and then grow from there. So I don't know if that answers the question, but like to me, the concept of underprivilege is very relative to your circumstances.
Yeah.
And there are some things that I'm underprivileged in that other persons might not be underprivileged in, and then there are other people that might be even more underprivileged than what I was when I was growing up. Didn't have access to the things that I have, so they might look at me and say, but actually you privileged, so that sort of gap between privilege and underprivilege is really relative. It's about your experience. And I think what's important is to recognize the areas where you are or feel that you haven't had opportunities, and then work from that point of view.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with you. So, I mean, it takes every specific situation, but at the same time, we're talking about situations that has quite a bit of the underprivileged categories within in one situation. Like, there's a single parent, okay? The single parent's not employed at the moment, so there's unemployment. You are in a class with almost 45 kids, 50 kids. You've been abused. I'm talking about, these are general things. So in Mitchells Plain, you have a big basket of youngsters going through all of those categories at one time, where someone that lives out in let's call it Claremont or like we said, Rondebosch East, they maybe have a single parent, but the mother works, or the parent works. So we do understand you coming from that perspective, but what about that kid that's growing up that doesn't know where his next plate of food's coming from, doesn't know where they're gonna go after they matriculate, doesn't know whether or not they're gonna have a roof over their head next week because they've been kicked out of their house. So these are things that we're looking at as underprivileged. So if you are in that space, I'm telling you today, there is hope. Remember, we can only control what we have power to control. Everything else we gotta leave to our Creator. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And everything around us is negative. I mean, you notice everybody's attitudes are negative. Nobody lives for each other anymore. And what we're just trying to portray is to change your mindset, because that's what we as individuals have power of. And I know it's hard, me sitting here now, and I might be on a different spectrum of privilege now than what I was when I grew up. But I had to fight for this.
Yeah.
I had to fight hard, thick and thin. I grew up in a home where my father, he had a decent job, broke his back, got put on a disability. And it's one of those situations which was out of his control. But maybe that was his journey in life. That was between him and God. But I was one of his kids, and we lived basically hand to mouth. So, my only answer out of the whole situation was my mindset. I drew close to sport. That was my outlet in life, was my sport, and I did okay, and it helped me to get out of my situation. And everything I did, I tried to do the best I think today, I think I could have done a bit better. If I think in a lot of
But the thing is, when you're younger, you don't realize if you just put that little bit more effort
Yes.
into it, if you just focus a little bit
Yes.
more, if you just a little bit more dedicated, that you can go so much further. I think in retrospect, like at our age now, when you reflect back, and not to say that you have regrets
Yes.
in your life, but when you reflect back, you think to yourself, yes, if I just spend more time, honing my craft or spending more time training or spending more time with my academics, then maybe, I would have been in a better place. And that's just the reality, because unfortunately, in most cases, you can't go back and repeat your life in the same age that you were.
Yes.
Granted that you can still go back and get education now, even at a later stage in your life. But realistically, you can't go back to your younger self and say, listen, just do a little bit more. Just put a more effort in. Focus more on your academics. Focus more on your training. Focus more on your mental well-being or whatever it may be, that you might be experiencing, that you think when you reflect back in your current state, that if I had done this, then maybe this would have been different for me now, But I think the key is, if we had to pick somebody for that particular part of the discussion, who are we speaking to there? It's like that young person today that doesn't think about it. Like, you're just going through the motions of your existence right now. You're enjoying your life. You like figuring out what it is to be young. You partying.
When
or
I get
maybe
there,
you're
I'll
with
sort it
friends,
out.
or, you think you're okay, and it's hard for us old guys, in inverted commas, to speak to a young person and say to them, guys, focus, guys, be committed, guys, give more into your schoolwork or whatever. It sounds very parental to say that, but I think the goal for us is to talk from a perspective of reflection, because you will come to a point in your life where you like, in your late 30s, like we are now, and you look back and you think, well, if I maybe in matric, excelled a little bit more, then I could have maybe did this or I could have did that, but being that as it may, I think, despite that, when the time came and when the things that we needed to apply in our lives to push through our circumstances, we did it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So even though we didn't make certain decisions when we were younger, it didn't disable us from still, pursuing things that we can feel proud about.
Yeah. Which actually, just to touch on what you just said now, I mean, if I were to have done things a bit differently, would I be sitting here now? So it's easy to look back. I should have chose that, and I should have chose. A long time ago, I told myself I'm gonna not use woulda, shoulda, coulda, because you've got one chance, and the decisions you make causes the results after. So this is the result of my life thus far, and this is just a small symbol or showing, in my little small capacity, how I can try to give a little bit back, to the youngsters out there.
And sometimes our experiences can be, can be sort of lessons to the younger guys, because yes, like we've worked through things.
Yeah.
We've gone through the choices that we've made.
Yes.
But sometimes you should look at those choices and say to yourself, I'm in that same position now. I can make the same choice that Shane made or that Graham made. Or I can make a different choice. You see, because when you get to where you are, like you're saying now, you don't look at your life now and say, yes, I regret where because I don't regret where I am in my life now. I realize that the choices that I made brought me to this point. Like, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't make the choices, if I didn't have the life experiences that I had. But at the same time, it's not unusual to realize that you had more choices, you had more options, but your choices brought you to here. So think about my view is, when you make a choice, think more about your choices than just make them by default, especially big choices, like especially when you're younger, like, am I going to study further? Am I going to pursue this career? Or am I going to marry this person. Like, just think more about your choices and it will make a difference.
Yeah. But I think before we get carried away, Graham, we got to give a bit about our story.
Yeah.
I think everybody...
I think we're on a topic and we...
So basically, we're just going to give, in a nutshell, who we are and why we feel we are successful from the situation that we have come from. Because remember, success is something that's individual.
Yeah.
What success means to you might not mean success to the next man. But that's their choice of what they choose success to be.
Yeah.
You know? So I'll start with myself. Is that fine? Like I said, name is Shane Reyners, born and bred out of Mitchell's Plain, matriculated out of Princeton High. And like I said, I used to be a runner. I used to train in the Westridge Gardens over there and did pretty well my running and got the opportunity to go overseas. Studied overseas, lived overseas for about 6.5 years. Had a great experience in life. I think I experienced more with living overseas than running overseas. I forgot about the running. Enjoyed myself a bit too much. Yes. And some unforeseen circumstances pulled me back, but I'm one that sticks, or I'm just one of those. I like to grow close to where my roots is, you know, and Cape Town is where I'm from, and I'm not a sugarcoating type of person. I don't want to go live in a different country and just smoke screen my mind that, hey, everything is okay there, you know, at home. I'd rather be part of the problem here in Cape Town, and well, not part of the problem, but part of the solution. You know, and I love the struggle. I love the challenge. Came back to South Africa, basically sold off whatever I had over there and started over. Took me 3 months to get my first job here. And the job was in something that different to what I studied. I took it anyway because I needed the job. Today, I own my own business in that same industry that I started in 2011. And I can tell you God's been good to me, you know, and for me, I think it's been successful so far. Got guys.
But how weird is that? Like, I'm just hearing you say, sorry to interrupt you, but you were saying that you got a job in an industry that you didn't really know, but you took it anyway because you needed a job. So it wasn't necessarily in your mind like, yeah, this is, but now, after all these years, you've built yourself experience in that field, and you started your own business. How weird is it that you went into a job by default, and now you're running a business in that same industry?
Still serve
you even know
the same clients that I serviced in 2011.
That's actually mad.
I still have the same clients. Yeah.
It means that sometimes a choice that you make out of your circumstances, or because you don't have other choice, maybe, or out of desperation, or because you need a job, can actually be something that you were.
And the funny thing is, the job that I'm busy with is more hands-on compared to what I used to or I was studied for. But I love it to bits, so I won't trade it for anything. And I mean, I've got some guys that works for me, and luckily the business can afford to hire them, and I can help them put food on their table. And for me, that's a blessing. That's better than anything. That's success for me, that I can help someone put something on the table, you know. And my wife was a bit sketchy, me going out on my own. But I told her, listen, I'm ready for the step, and I'm gonna take the risk. And I mean, like I said, you just keep doing the right thing. I'm a firm believer, you know, if you stand around the barber shop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. Just let that be a thought. So the same with you guys as youngsters. If you're standing around the crowd that's doing the wrong thing, you're gonna be doing the wrong thing as well. Unfortunately, it's a fact of life. Now, Graham was touching on this earlier. I might have, because I talk a lot. But if you're looking at when you're growing up, right? Some people like to make their own decisions and make their own mistakes. Yes, I've made my own decisions, but a lot of the decisions I made is listening to people. The recent person I actually listened to was a guy that does our insurance, and he's just a great guy. He wanted to meet me first. We didn't even talk business. We met, and he just told me about his life. I don't know. I was thinking, yes, this old man just wants to talk here. But he expected me to have a book, and he wanted me to write things down. And he gave me some pointers, and I'm actually using it. And it made me think. But yeah, so crux of the story is, so yes, right enough. You want to make your own decisions and mistakes. But remember, time is something that's against us. We only got this one life. Right? So if you can listen to the people, you'll know when it's the right person talking. But you tell yourself it's not the right person because you don't want to do that. You want to go the other way. They tell you to go left, you want to go right. You understand? So listen to people that's been through the mill already. It's very important. And coming back to underprivileged, when we matriculated, we never had student loans, banks offering all these financial aids. I know the government financial aid is also a bit tricky at the moment, but there is institutions willing to help kids that wants to study. There is institutions that's willing to supplement kids for free if they're hard workers. So there is opportunity for higher learning.
Yeah.
And there is opportunities that companies will take, giving kids, opportunities to come in, bursaries. So guys, you got to take it upon yourself to make your life your responsibility. Because, I'll tell you, I've got problems. Can I tell you what? In life, your problems never go away. Remember this, what I'm going to tell you now. You're either in a problem, or you're heading towards one, or you just came out of one. Just remember that in life. Okay? So, I've got siblings that still has issues, which I got to be in the center of. I've got that. I've got a brother that's on drugs. I get you. I've got a brother that's in Paulsmore. I get you. This guy sitting here, yes, I've got those type of problems as well. But remember, I cannot control those type of things. I can't control their decisions that they make. Okay? I can be there and support them, but I don't support their problem. If you understand, or aid their problem. You can only support what you can. And I know a lot of you are in these situations where there's a family member on drugs and all that. Please, just hang in there. Hang in there, speak to people, get an outlet like I got through running. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it be drawing for you, playing games, but just get through that. Take responsibility of your life.
Yeah, and don't lose sight of your goals. Like Shane was saying, now there's so many options out there for you to still proceed in your education or in your or in your passion, the things that you really desire. In today's life, there's so many career opportunities, right? Yes. So you could pick up a camera and you could create a career out of that. There's so many options available to young people. The important thing is that you need to think about, your future in realistic terms, not to be demotivated by your current circumstances, believing that opportunities doesn't exist for you, because they do. It's just a question of what do you do with the options that are available to you, or how do you make it work? Like for me, for example, if I look at my way of starting my education in tertiary education, so obviously we went to school in Mitchells Plain, we went to school together at Princeton. When we finished high school, obviously we needed to either go work or go study, or depending on what your options were available to you at the time. I really did want to go study, and I did go study immediately. But in order for me to study from a financial perspective, there needed to be support, right? So I was fortunate that my mother, through her work, was able to get a bursary for me. And the funny thing is that my mother didn't work in like this major industry or this what, she came from very humble beginnings. Her career was in a very humble situation. She worked as a machinist at a company, which I'm very proud of, because she did that her entire life. With the minimal opportunities that she had, she was able to take on this job, work my mother started working when she was 13 years old. Like, she was a child when she started working.
Had no
I don't
choice.
even know what the labor laws were back then, but I mean, literally, she was
Food needed.
they needed to, she was on her own, she was living with other people, and she needed to get a job. So our families, our parents came from much different circumstances than what they brought us into when they were married, right? So then we came and we were given the opportunities that they didn't have, so even though she started off in a very humble way, she and my dad, they worked hard to give us opportunities that they could, so fortunately through her work, I could get a bursary that supported part of my studies, and then part of that needed to come from me working. So through the time that I was studying, there was part of my studies were financed through the bursary, and part of my studies were financed through me working a job on a weekend. You know what I'm saying? There's so many options that you could do to make things possible to you. It just depends on your willingness to put in the work, to put in the effort that you need to actually pursue something. And I messed up. In my first year, there was this one subject that I studied marketing, and I despised the subject. And it's funny because I still struggle with that today. So this subject was called, so I did National Diploma Marketing, and the subject was called personal selling. So what personal selling is that they give you like a bunch of products, and then you have to go out and sell it. So now I don't see myself as a salesperson. Like, I can't even sell my services in my business. It's a very challenging thing for me to do that, because you're going to people, you're approaching them, and you hoping that they're going to buy from you. So I didn't do it at all. And I failed that subject that year completely. And I knew that I'm putting this on the back burner, but when I come to my third year, I'm still going to have to do it because I needed to, because I didn't have the luxury to fail and then take additional years to.
Yes.
At some point, my studies needed to come to an end,
India.
and I needed to go work so that I can help and support my family and also develop myself and to grow, because there were needs in my situation that required me to also support and help. So being that as my third year came and I had to do personal, I don't know how I did it. Like, reflecting back, I don't actually know, because remember, now I had to do the subjects that we had in that particular year. And I had to do this thing that I really despised, but thank God I was able to get through it, and I passed. I finished in my third year of studies. I think the moral of my story, in terms of what I'm trying to say, is that your dedication and commitment is going to determine the opportunities that are available to you. You know what I'm saying? You decide what you can and cannot do. I think, coming from certain backgrounds, especially when you come from a background where maybe your parents are not really wealthy, you don't, like, I'm talking money terms now, you don't, you face various struggles in your life. And with that comes certain comparisons that you make with other people. So now you maybe see other kids that are more privileged than you, and you look down on yourself. So your self-esteem is it's compromised, it's low, exactly. So you look almost down on yourself, like you don't deserve certain things, or you can't ask certain things or whatever, so you hold yourself back. So you either withdraw, or you pretend that you don't have to do anything, or I don't really know what it is, but it is definitely a self-esteem issue. And I think that we need to get out of that sort of mindset that we are not good enough, or that we are not as deserving of certain things. I had that problem. I think even in my adulthood, I still struggle with it. Like, if I look at my work, my career, there was many moments where that came up for me. But I think, we need to push through that. We need to recognize our worth. We need to recognize our value and start saying, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work. I'm not going to allow my circumstances or my lack of self-esteem or whatever it is keep me from doing it anyway. Like with you starting your business, there were reservations. For me also, like the people in your, it's not usual for people in our communities to start businesses. You know, other communities they've been doing, I mean, business exists, which means that people have been starting business forever. But in our communities, it's like, no, you need a job, you need to like retire when you're 60, you need to keep that one job, and you need to have that security in a lot of people's mindsets.
It's the playing safe type of.
It's the playing safe, you know. They don't see that starting a business, yes, it's a risk to do, but it's also very rewarding because every single thing that you do is going to be beneficial to you and your family and the legacy that you're trying to establish and build.
No. Totally. I mean, Graham, in order to achieve something that hasn't been achieved in your family or community, you got to do something that no one has done within that space. I mean, for me personally, my goals were to break chains within my family, and also for us to create change in our community, us as a colored people. It starts with you, okay? It starts with you, and like I said, take responsibility of your life. Like for me, first person in my family to matriculate, okay? And I mean, yes, I was first in
I didn't know that. Yeah.
2002, and I mean,
in your household now,
no, my mother's side of the family, first person to matriculate. And to me, that's not
huge. Yeah.
No, for me, it's not the reason why it's not an achievement, because it shouldn't be that way. In 2002, I think we were quite a big family.
Yeah.
The first person that matriculated. I mean, that's actually uncalled for. First person to go to university. So. Yes.
So were you the first person that traveled overseas as well?
First person, yeah. But okay, I broke the
chains, yeah.
But I mean, it shouldn't have been that way. I mean, in 2002. So maybe us as a generation, we've now broken the chain. There's opportunities out there. Be that first person. Do something that's different to what anyone. Get up early in the morning and go and study. Stay up late and study. You know, like I said, work on yourself, change the mindset, because like I always come back to the story. There was a guy that came to speak at our high school, and he, you know, said something. Your altitude will be determined by your attitude. So change your attitude. Your attitude's gonna be the one that's gonna take you places. Humble yourself. I humble myself till today. I work alongside the guys that works for me. We are a team. You know, you don't run a business to be a boss. You run a business to start something, to create something, and something to be proud of. The guys that works with you needs to be proud of it as well. So I can stand firm and say that yes, in that perspective, I've reached some level of success. But that's just one step. I'm still part of the process, and we're moving along. So it never stops. A person that wants to be successful in life, he will always have to keep moving along. You'll always take on another challenge. I'm sure you have another challenge.
What do they say? The goalpost always changes.
Always shifts.
Yeah,
that's why we're so hard on ourselves. But yeah, man.
So what do you do for fun, Shane? Because it seems so like hectic, so serious.
At the moment, it's work. So I see myself now. Personally, I'm still in a season of getting to the business to where I would like it to be. But it's taken a lot of me, if you know what I was saying. But it's just that time, that period. Once we get to another level, then you know, I can sit back a little bit. But the work never stops, because you always grinding, and like you were talking about sales. So because my dad was boarded, so him and my mother would, you know, they're buying some handbags. So they're always trying to keep themselves busy. Remember now, they're trying to raise a family. So they're trying everything that they can do, and very grateful. And I love sales. Where Graham's marketing, he's very technical on how we got the angles we got to market, you know, this business. And I just want to sell, you know.
I think some people just have that sales thing.
That's
They
it,
can talk to anyone. Sell ice to an Eskimo.
I mean, half the time, I don't even know whether I talk about the product. We're talking about other stuff. But anyway, so I used to go with them since the age of 6 years old. We used to work on go with them to the flea market and used to help them on the flea market selling novelties, handbags, whatever we had. I think biltong at a time. So that's where I've learned some of my craft. And guys, you've got talent within you. I always come with a story and people always laugh. The richest place on earth is graveyards. Okay? Why I say graveyards? Because that is where all the potential and talents, unused potential and talents are lying, which could have created tremendous success. Brought riches, wealth, happiness, whatever will make you happy. So guys, don't be one of those people one day that never made use of their potential, never made use of their talents. The other things that a wife is always going to be there, a husband's always going to be there. Concentrate first on yourself. You can't be a husband or a wife one day and not be able to have some backing on who you are or some support. I'm sure you want a career one day. I'm sure you have some dreams. Don't live your life through other people. Live your life through yourself. You become a team with the person that you marry one day. So yeah,
Fully agree with that, because like you gotta be, you must be a whole person, man.
yes,
To be able to be effective not only in your own household, but to be effective in the world. Because if you're still trying to look for fulfillment through other people, then you're always going to, it's not going to be enough, and you're going to struggle, because the thing is, most people are out for themselves. People are not looking on you, expecting something necessarily from you, or judging you for certain things, or whatever the case may be. People are trying to get ahead themselves, and sometimes that means putting you back. So if you're going to be focused on another person to try to uplift you, then you're going to be sorely misled, because you're going to be the one that ends up doubting your own abilities and yourself, and you're going to feel let down by that. And the only reason why you will feel let down is because you've attached value to their opinions on your situation and who you are. So I agree 100%. There needs to be fulfillment within yourself, because if you don't have fulfillment within yourself, then you are going to put unnecessary pressure on the persons in your life. So whether that is your parents, or whether that is your husband or your wife, or your friends, or your colleagues, you will always be that person that needs validation from somebody else, and it's going to determine whether you go forward or not. But no, that shouldn't be the case. You must be whole so that you can actually give of yourself in service of others, because then you can see the value that you putting out into
people
the world.
can see the angle of who you are, where you're coming from. But also touching on that, like we're going through now, it's just making me think.
Yeah.
We are also living up to the standards of what society expects us to live up to. So, and guess what? Where society starts? Your parents.
Yeah.
So sometimes your father wants you to be a lawyer or a doctor, and that's not something that you really want to do. Then, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, you're never going to be happy if you're not going to do what you want to do. Follow your passion, I'm telling you, because like for me, doing what I'm doing every day, I only hopped onto this career or industry in 2011, but I'm a passionate person. And when I found something that I really liked, and I plowed all my efforts and time into it, it's led me to where I am today. And remember now, yes, success, a lot of people view as money, okay?
Yeah.
But success to me is happiness. So if you have a roof over your head, and you have food on your table, and your family is sorted out, and you're doing something that you love to bits, my bro, my sister, you are successful. Okay, so
You put the value on what success.
that's it. So let it start here. Think about it. Because I mean, everybody also they value having nice things. I mean, don't try and live in a house. You two people, and then you want a 4-bedroom house. You don't need a 4-bedroom house. Don't overextend yourself. Live within your means. You know, I think we're getting a bit off the topic, but it's actually, this is a topic on its own.
I actually think this feels like the entire discussion has been a topic on itself. Like it all fits, but it makes sense though.
Telling our
because
story
it's like,
with the
yeah,
story.
Yeah, I actually like it because it feels like we're on a theme, about mindset, like where your mindset must be. You know what I'm saying? And that is powerful because I think if we're going to start with anything, starting with your mind
100%.
is the right place.
Do you know when you wake up in the morning, you decide
Yeah.
whether or not you are gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
You know, some people just in the morning when they wake up, they are just miserable, and then everything that happens in traffic, on your way to work, you get to the office, there's no coffee. You know, everything is just a schlep. So let it be in the morning you wake up, you decide, you have a minute with yourself, decide, listen, today I'm gonna have a stunner of a day, no matter what comes my way. Remember, do you know how much problems I've been through? I've only late 30s, but I've had a fair share of problems. Guess what? I've got through all of them. Some of them are still dangling there, and it's, you know, you touch on it here and there. But you sit back and you like, yes, how did I get through that? But when you were staring at it, you thought, yes, I can never get through this. But you eventually get through. So we sometimes worry ourselves to death, and we make what we see. You make that your unhappiness of the day, or not the day, but it affects your
ability to function.
Your
Function
ability,
positively.
100%. It affects your whole outlook on things. Just be you. Do what you can with that situation, and that's it. And you decide how you feel.
Yeah, the reality is things are never gonna be like 100% ideal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's always, like you were saying, there's always that, like I think you mentioned earlier on, and I know I was like you either coming to a problem, or you in a problem, or you coming out of a problem, or something like that. No? So that's so true, you know. And I think if that had to be the system of life, right? In between that, you need to find moments of peace, moments of happiness and joy, because the reality is you can't always be overcome by the negative things in your life. You know what I'm saying? So you need to look around and motivate yourself with goodness. You know what I'm saying? With positivity. I think for me, like you were touching on like what success sort of looks like to you. Like for me, like I often think about like what is the things that make me feel excited and alive and like ready to take on the world. And you know, for me, I must say, like I'm not a grounded person in the sense of like I want the big house and the cars and for me it's like I want to be able to do things that I've never done before, see places that I've never seen before, you know, experience things that I love experiences, you know. And I must say, like, because like between me and my wife, me and Taryn, we were always like, I will on a random occasion and I'll say to you, Asses, when last did we do something that made us feel alive? You know, because that's to me, it's an important thing. Like, I think I measure success on those type of things because it drives me, it motivates me. Like, I can do work if I know that I'm going to be rewarded for it. And that reward would be like going on a trip or going on like, I promise you, like, it's to me something that I'm willing to work for, honestly. And it doesn't necessarily reflect the same on somebody else. It might not be the thing for them. And that's okay. The important thing is to just look at your life, man. Look at the things that bring you that motivation and joy. And it's amazing what you can do. It's amazing how you can do something that you don't like or you don't enjoy in that moment. But when you're thinking about, in my case, when I'm thinking about yes, that means I'm gonna, go to Victoria Falls at the end of the year. Then it's like, I can do this. I can push through it. I can make it work. I can do what I need to do. And sometimes going through that thing, whether it's in your work or in your life or your situation or whatever, it can still be challenging. But having your understanding about what it's gonna mean to you, and visualizing it and believing that it can be possible, it changes your trajectory of your capability of doing something. It really does. So I think for me, like, a big lesson is know why you are doing what you are doing. And why you are doing it is not for other people. It's for your goals. It's for your successes. It's for your, what's that thing about the goalposts or whatever that you've set for yourself, because once you've got that in your mind and once you know what it feels like, then, the circumstances are a matter of fact. It becomes like a means to an end. I gotta do this, but in doing this, it means I can achieve success. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I can be motivated and I can get out on the other side and find joy, even in the tough stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, so my, like, I don't have, unfortunately right now, I don't have that ability to, me, I gotta be at work almost every day for now. So I can't go away.
No, I'm not saying in your, but for me, I will just do stuff just to go away.
But anyway, I know this doesn't seem that faboosh or anything like that. Yeah. But I drive quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I reflect when I drive, and sometimes my mind just goes, and I just think of the times like 2011 when I came here for the 3 months.
When you came from the States to visit.
No, to come back. Good, yeah. I remember I never had a job. To where the journey I took from there to where I am now, and I just, it just takes me back, and it just makes me so happy and grateful, and that's what keeps me going, because I know the work that I've put in has taken me thus far. So if I put in that same work all the time, it can only take me further. And now that I have a little one, and I sometimes just sit back and I look at her and I'm like, I'm so grateful that I can one day give her opportunity to obviously she's got to go the hard way because I'll install that in her. But if she wants to pursue something, I can give it to her. Now, that's a chain that was broken. Our parents, it wasn't easy for them. Remember, through generation, we all know our past. We're not going to go there. Through every generation, it should get a bit lighter and a little bit easier. But there's a vicious cycle where things are not getting easier for us in our communities, because we all know the negatives that's happening at the moment with drugs, gangsterism. I know unemployment is at its rife. I know the government's at its rife, but at the same time, we got to do as individuals the best that we can do. So, like we were talking about our mindsets, I mean, you don't want to be a young teenage girl pregnant, because then you stagnating your opportunities that you might have. So like we spoke earlier, you need to break that chain. You need to take responsibility of your life. You need to go the extra mile, and the extra mile. Give 150%, give 200%, so that you can create a generational change in your family. Be the first for something.
Yeah.
But Graham, there's more to come.
Yeah. I think this, yes. I think like the big message out of this for me is definitely about, getting your mind set right. Like, regardless of your circumstances, just making sure that whatever you experience in your life, whether it's negative or whether it's positive, because both can have an effect on you, in terms of making decisions for your future. But when you get your mindset right first, it's going to enable you to make wiser, better choices for yourself. And even though you're still going to go through, life struggles, life challenges, because that's a given, despite that, you know what your goals are. You know what your path to success is. You know what success looks like for you, which could be different for everybody. So I think that's the key for me, is like, if you feel like your mindset is a bit off, if you feel like you are not making the best decisions for your life, just take a minute, go back, reflect. Like you were saying earlier on about like when you're driving, that's your time to reflect. Find a place in your house, or go sit in a park, or if it's safe, obviously, I don't where you are, like whatever it may be, like find a place where you can just sit and reflect on who you are as a person, and just reimagine what your life could be, and what success looks like to you. And I believe that, if I look at my own life, if you find your place to get your mindset in the right place, then you can get to where you want to be. You can make it. You can get through the struggles. You can get through the issues of life, and you can come out on the other side being stronger than you were before.
Yes. So also, we want you guys to interact with us. We're not trying to put anyone down. If you, like us, I mentioned teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
There's plenty of teenage pregnant girls or ladies or women out there that did that's made us. I'm just pointing out certain things, and obviously, if those women will tell you it wasn't easy. And I'm not just talking about women, I'm talking about guys. Obviously, they would have to be the father, and that would have set them back, and maybe they got involved with the wrong things, with drugs or gangsterism, that set them back. I'm not pinpointing on anyone. I'm just saying that these decisions that gets made, remember, these things are not always an accident, if you know what I mean. There can be an accident where a woman gets raped, and we're not going to go into that. But you have the choice of going right or going left. So make the right decisions. Let's interact. We want to keep this thing going.
Give your views, because remember, this is we're opening a discussion.
Yes.
And I think that the key is to enable not only us to say what we think or what our experiences are, but to create a platform where other people can share their experiences as well. And maybe there's something that we said here that you maybe don't agree 100% with. Maybe it's different for you, and you've still achieved success in your life. Please share that, because you know what? Sometimes people need to hear the unusual, the different circumstances, so that they can find people that share similar experiences. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you hear somebody else went through something, guess what? It makes you realize that you're not the only one, but also that there's a way out. Like you were saying about teenage pregnancy. And I think the reason why we use those examples is because when we look at our communities, teenage pregnancy, drugs, gangsterism, these are real issues in our colored communities. We can pretend that that's not the case, and make it like it's all sunshine and roses, but that's not reality.
So if you out there thinking that
we're judging
or they don't know what I'm going through, I can physically tell you, I've kind of seen a lot of what most people are going through. I've seen, because I've experienced, Graham, we a bit different, I think. But I've seen quite a lot, and I can relate to a lot of people. So it hasn't always been gravy. I can tell you now, it hasn't always been gravy. So don't think now, he doesn't know what we going through. I know. So we're not talking from a point of view where we only come from the way we look at life. We know what the struggles that you go through, and that's why we're here to give you hope and inspire you that there is a way out.
Absolutely, and that's why this discussion is about your mind, because even if you disagree with what we say about something, change your mind about your experiences. That's all we're saying. We're not saying hear everything that we're saying and believe that. We're saying, you know what, look into your own mind. Think about things or your circumstances for yourself, and then forge a path for yourself, because only with a clear mind can you make clear choices. And that's, I think, for me, a big sort of motivation, because if I knew that I could use my own mind earlier in my life, I think I would have, been more capable than I am today. I'm very capable. I consider myself as a very capable person, but I also recognize certain, weaknesses that I still have, that I'm still building and working my mind through. So yeah, that's it for me.
There's some people that's sitting here and listening to us and probably made huge mistakes in their life. But the fact that your Creator has woken you up this morning, it means that He's not through with you. So there's hope for you. Change your life. He can change your life around, but He wants you to be the driver with the vehicle that He's providing. Remember, your blessing is waiting there for you, but you need to be prepared for your blessing. Okay? Your blessing mustn't be prepared for you. You need to be prepared for your blessing. Here's a story. I'm going to leave you with this. Okay? A father has a gift for his son. Okay? He's got a vehicle for his son, but his son is only 9 years old. Will that gift for his 9-year-old son be a blessing? Or will it be something dangerous at the age of 9 years old? Or will it be a blessing when that child is 18 years old when he has his license? Just a thought. So sometimes we got to have patience, but we got to be prepared for what's to come. And that's the work that we got to put in. Remember, nothing worth having is going to be easy. Okay? Nothing worth having is going to be easy. Because when we sit here and we say that we're successful, it's because we're grateful. Because we know the story, our story. We know where we come from. We know the sweat. I'm still today struggling, to keep things going, because it never stops. Remember the goalpost? You always want to get better at what you're doing. So work hard, and the benefits will be there. I can assure you that.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. And I think that wraps up this. What do you think?
No, it wraps it up. We will be back.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope you're not too tired or of listening, listening at us for now.
But we hope there was something in this session that can be of value to you, and that maybe helped you see things in your circumstances and your situation in a different way. If we did that, then I think we've achieved what we wanted to with this session. So yeah, thanks for listening. For those that have listened to the entire session, you guys are awesome. And yeah, don't forget, I
know we're not a lot to look at.
Yeah.
You're probably sitting there
you
judging us.
You yourself, man. I'm joking, eh? Yeah, but that's about self-esteem.
I hope we could encourage someone.
For sure.
Could encourage someone, or we could encourage someone with something we said. You didn't have to listen to anything, but maybe one thing. I hope.
Cool, man. Okay. Till next time, guys. We are peace out.
Cheers. Okay.